Let me ask you each briefly to define one thing that sets you apart, that makes you distinct from the other candidates, either Republican or Democrat, starting with Mr. Marrou.
We want to cut government, reduce regulation, and reduce taxes. We want to repeal the income tax and abolish the IRS. We want to bring the troops back home to defend the United States of America. We want to stop subsidies of harmful drugs such as tobacco.
Haven't I heard Pat Buchanan say some of those things? Or for that matter, George Bush says he wants to cut government.
I don't think Pat Buchanan has said he wants to repeal the entire income tax and abolish the IRS. He hasn't said that. And besides that, he's a Republican. George Bush said, read my lips, no new taxes. He lied and broke his word. Ronald Reagan said he was going to cut government and reduce the debt. He didn't. He tripled the national debt and doubled the size of government. We are serious. Every Libertarian who's ever been elected out of the 200 has always voted against higher taxes and more bureaucracy. We are serious about this.
Mr. Agran, what makes you different from the other Democrats?
Now that the Cold War is over, I want to capitalize on that. The other Democrats talk about health care, they talk about education, they talk about improving our infrastructure, rebuilding the country here at home, but not a one of them has a clue as to how to get the job done. The only way to get the job done is to raise taxes, and of course they're all opposed to that, or to cut spending elsewhere and bring those resources home. I propose that now we cut the military budget in half, bring those resources home immediately. The best that's been offered so far is Harkin's rather timid proposal to cut the military budget by 50% over 10 years.
So you're not a Harkin Democrat?
Not by any shot, because we can't wait 10 years. We can't wait 10 years to bring those resources home and begin rebuilding the country. We have to do it right now with immediate steps that will begin to translate into real improvements right here at home within 6 months, a year, 2 years at the most.
Dr. Fulani?
Clinton's reputation is that if you say one thing to him, he'll come up with 10 plans for economic growth and development, in spite of the fact that Arkansas is one of the poorest states in the nation. One of the things that the Democratic Party, Big Five, won't deal with is that even though they have these reforms in mind, the process through which the reforms have to go, the legislators, so on and so forth, will end up bringing them to naught. In fact, you can't identify bills and things that they've suggested by the time they're finished with, because they're all washed out because of corruption and because of tax control. How are you going to beat the legislative process? What I'm suggesting that we must do in America is that we have to take on the literal process of bringing people straight smack dab into participating so that we are in the driver's seat. The only wealth that the people of this country have left is political wealth, our participation, and we have been locked out by massive restrictions by the Democrats and Republicans. The way that we must come in is that we have to be able to vote. We have to be able to participate in referendums. One thing, for example, when you have the IRS form, if we had a pie that laid out how all monies are currently spent in this country, and people were able to check off boxes like you do for matching funds that says, I want my money to go to this, I don't want it to go to congressional raises, I don't want it to go to building any more bombs, I want it to go to schools. That could be used as an initiative to identify the priorities that people want set in this nation if, in fact, we were talking about a democratic process. The Big Five, no matter how much they talk, can't produce these reforms. They haven't been able to, because what they're working with, the entire process is so corrupt, it just does not work for our people. What makes me different is that I'm building and fighting for more democracy in America so that we, the people, can be heard, ordinary people, even though we don't fit the mold of rich white men.
Do you want to address this pie in any sense? I suspect that you might have a very different view of it.
Far too many ills on rich white men. I'm not rich, but I am a white man, and I don't care being lumped in with these other people.
Well,
to me, the real issue is the fact that this country, the founders of this country were essentially all libertarian. Thomas Jefferson said that government is best which governs least. We need to get back to the limited government that the founders of this country had in mind. They wrote the Constitution specifically for the purpose of limiting the power, size, influence, and expense of government. We need to restore that kind of constitutional government and not try to blame it on any one particular group in our society.
Let me jump in.
Go ahead, very briefly.
Yes, I'm a self-government Democrat. I'm a liberal Democrat. I'm a progressive Democrat. I'm a lifelong Democrat, but I'm a self-government Democrat. I believe in the power of the people to govern their own affairs if the resources are returned to the people, returned to the cities, to the towns, to the school districts, and in turn to the people of the United States to rebuild their own country. One of the difficulties all of us have is that we are participants in a process that is now so exclusionary it's very difficult to even connect with ordinary citizens. That's why we run around listing 800 numbers and trying to effectuate means by which people can contact us.
Well, let me ask you about that, because in New Hampshire is the one place that almost every political savvy individual says you can connect with the individual. It's retail politics. If you can go out across New Hampshire, and each of you has, and still not generate much of a vote, what's your argument?
Well, first of all, we will generate something of a vote.
Well,
but if you're closed
3%
out
here and 2% there.
Well, but if you're closed out of the debates, of the forums, of the opportunity to be seen on television, if you're not real until you're seen on television, then what kind of a campaign can you conduct? In fact, ours are energetic campaigns. I'm going to be in this campaign long after some of these other big shot candidates are out of it. Incidentally, I do want to list my 800 numbers so people can send me some money or call us. It's 800.
Well, you can do that another place.
No,
we're not in the 800 number business here.
9425.
Let me ask you one other thing before we run out of time here. The major parties, the Republicans and the Democrats, don't seem to fear any of you or most of the other 60 people who are on the ballot up in New Hampshire. What they do seem to fear is a third-party candidacy of the likes of David Duke. Why is that?
I don't think that's true. First of all, I've been viciously attacked by the Democratic Party. They have baited me as a cult. They accuse me of being a brainwasher. They've put out newspapers that have attacked. I think a statement of their fear is the lack of participation on the part of candidates. I've raised more money than two of the so-called Big Five, and they've changed the criteria so that the only people who could participate in the debates who were African Americans in the history of this country would have been two people, one of whom is dead, and only 4 women. But I just wanted to say one other thing about who I am. I am an African-American woman who is saying that in the 1992 presidential race, if we want to deal with the economy, we have to broaden our democracy, and that I am a better manager.
Before we run out of time, I would like to get the question answered, Mr. Marrou.
The two major parties seem to be trying to blame Lyndon LaRouche on us. He is not a Libertarian. He's a Democrat. He's been a Democrat for many years, and he's running in the New Hampshire primary as a Democrat. In fact, there have been allegations he's linked to Dr. Fulani's party. I don't know whether he is, but he definitely is not a Libertarian.
What about the David Duke question? Why is he feared as a third-party candidate?
He's not feared. He's actually given a lot of coverage. That's different.
They are concerned that maybe in our democracy we can't trust the people. I say get David Duke on the ballot, let him be in debates, let me be in debates, let the people decide. If the people decide and repudiate the likes of Duke, then we know we've got a democracy that's vibrant.
I thank you all. We've run out of time. Larry Agran, Lenora Fulani, Andre Marrou, thank you for being with us. I'll be back in a moment with a final thought on the New Hampshire primary.
Get ready, basketball fans. It's coming right at you. Showtime! Your chance to get every magic moment all on one incredible video. Magic Johnson, always Showtime. It's free with your paid subscription to Sports Illustrated, the nation's #1 sports weekly. Your free video is a dazzling look at the fabulous career of Irvin Magic Johnson. He digs down deep into his bag of tricks and takes you on a victory ride you won't forget.
Straight down the middle, still going. Oh!
You'll cheer every exciting minute as you follow this leader up and down the court, wherever he goes, from high school to college to the pros. He just keeps on winning with an enthusiasm, a spirit and style that would change the NBA. Call this toll-free number now to be sure you get in on all the excitement free.
Magic's 18-footer wins it!
Don't miss the rookie's first NBA championship as he rises above the crowd to stun the Sixers. And you'll be there for all the battles with the legendary Larry Bird, the rivalry that started in college and continued in the NBA. You'll feel the intensity, the frustration, and the excitement as the two fight for the last shot, the one that makes champions.
Shooting 5 seconds left. Magic down the middle, just what I thought. A hook shot at 12.
Magic's just a great basketball player. He's the best I've ever seen.
Get 60 minutes of memorable Magic, free from Sports Illustrated. Get your free video and 54 issues of Sports Illustrated, including the Olympic preview and the famous swimsuit issue, for only $1.29 an issue. Save over 55% off the cover price. You may use your credit card. Follow all your favorites in Sports Illustrated. Call now to subscribe or renew and get this memorable video free. For quicker delivery, use your credit card. The magic of Irvin Johnson will always be something special, something we can't forget. Treasure it always. And every week, enjoy the continuing drama and emotion of sports in Sports Illustrated.
On the Republican front, the Bush quail campaign once figured it could eliminate the pesky Pat Buchanan factor in New Hampshire. You don't hear that anymore. With Buchanan now calculated to win 1/4 to 1/3 of the New Hampshire Republican votes, Bush campaign aides acknowledged Buchanan could sustain his conservative challenge well through the primaries. The Bush campaign would not like to see Buchanan last until the June 2nd windup in California. That's bedrock conservative ground, Ronald Reagan country. George Bush claims Ronald Reagan's endorsement. Pat Buchanan claims Reagan's ideological legacy. For more presidential politics, watch the 5 major Democratic candidates debate live from New Hampshire, Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, here on CNN. Also on CNN tomorrow, Newsmaker Sunday will look at the alarming threat posed by the erosion of the Earth's protective ozone shield and what can be done about it. The guests are Environmental Protection Agency head William Riley and Democratic Senator Al Gore. That's Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern on CNN. For Newsmaker Saturday, thanks for being with us. I'm Charles Bierbauer in Washington.
Of Newsmaker Saturday with Charles Bierbauer. Send $4 to Newsmaker Saturday Transcripts. Journal Graphics, 1535 Grant Street, Denver, Colorado, 80203. Or call 1-303-831-9000. Your comments may be sent to the same address.
Straight answers from Sally Struthers on ICS.
Sally, will I really make more money after I train through ICS?
Just compare your present salary with the money you could be making in any ICS career.
Sally, can I really train at home?
Absolutely. Over 10 million men and women have. Just call this number for free facts on any one of these courses. High school, TV, VCR repair, child daycare, computer programming, electrician, veterinary assistant, medical dental office, bookkeeping, legal assistant, interior decorating, drafting, hotel restaurant management, learning the personal computer, or get your degree. You can major in business management or accounting.
When is the best time to start?
There's no time like the present, so call now.
Call now for the free information Sally Struthers spoke about. Then decide if you want to train at home for a better career to make more money. Call 1-800-821-2100. There's no obligation and no salesman will visit you. Call 1-800-821-2100. Call now.
Hello, everyone. We want to update you on a breaking news story. There's a big fire burning in downtown Los Angeles at this hour in a high-rise office building. The fire broke out in the Los Angeles County Health Building within the hour. It was reported within the hour. Fire units from across that city have responded to this alarm. Fire rescue units are on the scene. This is the scene earlier as flames were shooting very obviously from the area of the 8th floor of this 10-story building. The thick black smoke leaving huge smudges on the side of this building. The fire, though, seems to be confined to one end of the building, although earlier when these pictures were taken, it seemed to be spreading throughout the 8th floor. This building is at Temple and Figueroa Streets in downtown Los Angeles. We're back to the live pictures now where you're seeing white smoke continuing to pour from the building. We will have more on this fire in downtown Los Angeles and an update on all those news stories of the day. Stay with us. We'll be back.
Homeowners Plus checking is free when you own your home. There's no minimum balance, no monthly service charge. You get free personalized checks, free traveler's checks, and more. Stop by the Midland office nearest you and open your Homeowners Plus free checking account today. Puppy not included.
For Harlan Edwards, it was a day he'll never forget. Over at Leo's, I never went. He took his daily shot at getting rich, and for the first time, won. But what he remembers most is what he did once he heard that war had started.
You're going to hear the bombs now. They are hitting.
Harlan sat down in front of the television, fairly certain that the world was now changed forever. Not to mention our way of learning about it.
None of us will ever forget.
$1,000 worth of quality term life insurance at rates so low they're less than 55 cents a day.
How do we do it? First, you save because we offer this life insurance at these low rates only to people who are in good health. That cuts our risk and your premiums. Then, because this quality term life insurance is sold in amounts of at least $100,000 or more, you get the advantage of volume discounts. And it's easy to do business with Garden State Life Insurance because you deal with us directly. You're always just a phone call away. So call today, 800-257-1257, toll free, 257-1257 for your free personal coverage proposal. No obligation, no pressure. Discover how this quality term life insurance could save you as much as 50% off your premiums every year for the rest of your life. 800-257-1257, toll free. Call Garden State Life Insurance for your free information today, 257-1257.
This is CNN.
Hello, everyone. I'm Molly McCoy. Health Week's coming up. First, a check of the hour's top stories. There's a big fire burning in downtown Los Angeles in a high-rise office building. The fire is in the Los Angeles County Health Building. We still don't know if this building was occupied when this fire broke out. Rescue units from all around the city are on the scene. This was the scene earlier when that fire was first reported. It was reported within the hour. Flames very obviously shooting out windows from around the 8th floor of this 10-story building. Again, this building is a county building. We do not know if there were people inside because this is, of course, a weekend. Back now to live pictures, you can see that the flames seem not to be shooting out of the windows now, but thick black and white smoke continues to pour from one end of this building, the Los Angeles County Health Building. We're told the building at Temple and Figueroa Streets in downtown Los Angeles. Again, we will continue to keep you updated with more details of a major fire in downtown Los Angeles in that high-rise building. We'll bring you details just as soon as they become available. In other news, in Southern California, the rains just keep coming. After a week of vicious storms, more rain today, up to an inch an hour in places. It was heaviest in western Los Angeles County. The deluge prompted more people to seek higher ground. Many had just come home. Now officials warn that saturated hillsides may unleash more mudslides and multiply the damage to homes and to buildings. The rain stopped for a while, but officials are not optimistic that that will last.
I think what we're dealing with right now is a lull between the storms, and basically what we have is a breakthrough of sun through the clouds, and we got a torrential rain this morning. We're expecting more torrential rains to come.
At least 8 people have been killed. 4 are missing as a result of recent floods in Southern California. This is the last weekend for presidential hopefuls to make their case to New Hampshire voters, and the candidates are making the most of it. President Bush is touring the Granite State this weekend, urging voters to give him another 4 years in the White House. The latest CNN USA Today Gallup tracking poll reveals that many New Hampshire Republicans plan to do just that. A poll of likely Republican voters found that 58% favor the president, 34% support challenger Patrick Buchanan. Buchanan himself sees the outcome of Tuesday's primary vote a little differently.
Come Tuesday, the Buchanan brigades are going to run head-on into the hollow army of King George and cut through it like butter. And I can't tell you how appreciative I am of this. But this is not only about Pat Buchanan's campaign. We're going to take this out of New Hampshire and right into Georgia after we come through here. This is about the future of your country.
Buchanan's supporters seem to share his view. They got into a shouting mess today with backers of Senator Bob Kerrey, a Democratic candidate. Their Manchester headquarters are across the street from each other. With only 3 days left before the crucial New Hampshire primary, the candidates are doing their best to keep a high profile. Democratic presidential hopeful Senator Paul Tsongas, with his wife and child at his side, is campaigning feverishly throughout the state. So is Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton. He has seen his lead in the polls evaporate in the last week. The latest CNN USA Today Gallup poll of likely Democratic voters shows Tsongas with 39% of the vote. Clinton comes away with 23%. Senator Tom Harkin finishes third with 14% of the vote. Next comes Senator Bob Kerrey with 10% of the vote. Former California Governor Jerry Brown finishes last. He gets 6% of the vote. The 5 major Democratic candidates will debate in New Hampshire on Sunday. The debate is being sponsored by CNN and the League of Women Voters Education Fund. And you can watch it live beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's a look at our top stories. Health Week coming up.
On CNN tomorrow, thinking of taking a cruise? Come aboard one of the Love Boats on Travel Guide. Then on the menu, health concerns over coffee, but no grounds to support them. All tomorrow on CNN.
Now it's a lonesome old world when you have to fight it all alone.
At Maytag, we still build them to last longer and need fewer repairs.
And it's twice as hard to take when I'm sitting all alone.
Maytag.
All alone.
The dependability people.
The BBC, Turner Broadcasting, and Time Life Video dare you to take a walk on the wild side with Trials of Life. The gripping, award-winning nature video series that exposes the struggle to survive through uncensored, shocking photography. Join acclaimed naturalist David Attenborough for a close encounter with raw nature. See the thrill of the hunt and the strategy of the kill, the relentless drive to continue the bloodline, and the miracle of birth. Call now and receive Hunting and Escaping for $9.99 and see why the law of the jungle is kill or be killed. If it captures your interest, you can get other videos about every other month. Each tape explores the harsh realities of survival in the animal world. Take a walk on the wild side with Trials of Life. Call now to order Hunting and Escaping and find out why we call them animals.
To order your Trials of Life video, call 1-800-477-8200 or send $9.99 plus $3.23 shipping and handling to the address on your screen.
As CNN Weekend continues, we turn to Health Week.
Reports of 1 million AIDS orphans in Uganda alone. The World Health Organization estimates AIDS infections are spreading fastest among the populations of the sub-Saharan Africa and Southern Asian regions, while this year's estimate shows no increase for Western Europe or North America. The World Health Organization estimates that 9 out of 10 new infections occur in developing countries, where other health problems compound the misery and promote the spread of AIDS.
CNN Health Week.
Welcome. The risk of getting AIDS is not the same for all people. In the United States, heterosexual transmission is rare overall, but sharply higher in some communities. Magic Johnson tells the world he has the infection that leads to AIDS. The basketball star's words hit home to many with the precision of a three-point shot.
I think all males at our age are at high risk, especially because we're mostly active.
It is a frightening prospect, but off the mark, according to AIDS experts.
I think it is appropriate for heterosexuals to know that they are at risk. It's appropriate for all heterosexual people to be careful because no one would want to get this disease. On the other hand, I think it's probably not right to suggest that all heterosexuals are at the same risk because they're not.
One study finds women are 20 times more readily infected by men than men are by women. In the U.S., black and Hispanic people outnumber whites more than 3 to 1 in AIDS cases presumed to be heterosexually spread. Most come from inner cities. Researchers turn to public sexual disease clinics like this one in New York City to try and identify changes and trends in the AIDS epidemic.
Your friends are dying, your family, your friends. And see, what hurts is the younger generation that has it more so than the older generation. And so if the younger generation has it, where's life going to go?
Few areas are as hard hit as the South Bronx. Most of the infections are spread among drug addicts who share needles and then have sex with others. Researchers are seeing a pattern of transmission here that's similar to that of Central Africa. There, it's reported, the infection spreads equally to men and women through heterosexual contact. In an unpublished study, Dr. Edward Pelzak finds the risk of HIV infection almost 3 times greater for people who have other sexually transmitted diseases.
And that the major genital ulcer disease that was responsible for
for that increased risk was, in fact, chancroid.
Chancroid causes open sores, which may provide HIV both an efficient exit from an infected host and entrance into the partner's bloodstream. Chancroid and other diseases that cause genital sores are common in Africa and are spreading in the United States at a far greater rate than AIDS.
Okay, now this is like a sunburn. This transcends all economic classes and all races. Okay.
Dr. Roger Warner uses a laser to treat genital warts. He sees a steady increase in genital ulcer diseases. These infections are less serious than HIV, but they are easier to catch and much more common. They appear to break down one of the body's key defenses against disease.
There are possibilities for open blood vessels in these areas so that it's possible that there is a greater risk for HIV.
After Henrik Clausen's fiancée was diagnosed with venereal warts, doctors found the 28-year-old banker had them too.
I haven't noticed any changes on my skin or anything. So, no, I haven't seen it. I haven't noticed anything.
Laser treatments failed to clear up all of the warts.
Because he's had recurrence of these lesions, we're going to do a circumcision to try and cut back on recurrences.
Studies confirm a higher incidence of sexually transmitted disease, including HIV, among uncircumcised men. Circumcision is complicated for adults, so ordinarily it is performed at birth or only in men who have specific medical needs.
This is an individual problem. Not everyone will get this. Some men will never have a problem, but many men do.
To help control all sexual diseases, the urologist strongly endorsed the use of condoms for people who are not monogamous.
It's no longer just a matter of enjoyment or lack of enjoyment. It's their lives that are on the line, and possibly the future of their mate as well.
In the U.S., nowhere are the risks higher than in places like the South Bronx.
Because I saw a lot of my friends didn't use protection and died from it.
Believe me, I wouldn't even think of having sex without a condom, even if I knew the person.
AIDS experts agree individual will is still the most potent weapon against AIDS.
There is more evidence, though, that many people are not taking the AIDS threat seriously and are continuing unsafe sexual practices. Among hundreds of HIV-infected patients surveyed at 2 Baltimore inner-city clinics, 15% picked up new sexually transmitted diseases within a year of their HIV diagnosis, apparently ignoring advice to abstain from sex or to use condoms. Next on Health Week, more on the AIDS threat. For whom is the risk overstated?
Health Week is brought to you by Tempra, the children's fever reliever, because you're not just treating a fever, you're treating a child.
When we asked what's a strong name in headache relief, a lot of people said
Excedrin.
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 When we asked what's a strong medicine for pain, a lot of people said ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen. Well, we put our heads together and came up with this solution for headache pain.
Excedrin.
Ibuprofen. Excedrin.
Ibuprofen.
Introducing Excedrin IB. Now an ibuprofen medicine from Excedrin. Ibuprofen relief for tough headaches. New Excedrin IB. The headache ibuprofen.
Alaska fishermen go through agony to bring you a taste of ecstasy. Alaska seafood, far and away the world's finest.
Agran wants to know. Changed my life. Not much. With Agran M, multivitamins with minerals, fine-tuned for the way you live.
You, my friend, can use some fun. Big fun. Las Vegas, Atlantic City, cruise ships. But you got to take this along, the Players Club card. It's going to save you a lot of money. 25 to 50% off fabulous resort hotels, 25% off meals and drinks, up to 50% off shows and entertainment. Come on. Call Players Club for much more information free. You're too smart to pay full price.
New members get 2 free nights in Las Vegas or Atlantic City when the club books their flights. Call toll-free now.
Some in the U.S. call AIDS a disease of subcultures because most cases still occur among homosexual men, people who inject drugs, and their sex partners. Forecasts of a rapid explosion of heterosexual AIDS throughout the country have not come true, not even where there are more confirmed AIDS cases than any place else. New York City.
Staten Island, New York is a short commute from the highest concentration of confirmed AIDS cases in the world. 3 years ago, Dr. Jordan Glazer was the first to describe the spread of AIDS from homosexual and inner-city enclaves to middle-class suburbia.
This little island here that's in the backyard of a major epidemic, there's a lot to learn from our experience here. So how you been coming along?
Okay.
Hanging in?
Good.
Dr. Glazer still sees patients who acquired AIDS heterosexually. Most are women whose male partners got AIDS injecting illegal drugs. But there's been no wildfire spread. He says one reason is the biology of the virus, most closely linked to AIDS. HIV is spread sexually, but the chance depends in part on sexual practices. Rectal intercourse appears to be much riskier than vaginal sex.
Once the partner, the man, is diagnosed with HIV, what amazes a lot of the women is that 3 out of 4 times they're negative.
Anne was not so fortunate.
Well, now that I think about it, we were definitely at risk because my husband is an alcoholic and has a cocaine problem, and there was a lot of promiscuous behavior.
Anne may be an exception, but stories like hers add to confusion over how far AIDS is spreading and who should be most worried about catching it.
The public wants to view this at one extreme or another. Either they want to say, it's not a problem at all, I don't need to worry about it, or this is terrible, I need to worry about it all the time. And the truth is that it's somewhere in between. It is a real problem.
There's no explosion in new cases of heterosexual AIDS here, just a slow increase. Still, reason enough, some say, to get personal before becoming intimate.
The most important things about, let's say, a woman marrying a man is whether that man used IV drugs or whether that man is bisexual. Promiscuity, in terms of a risk, is probably a greater risk in the inner city areas. Whether it's becoming a risk in more suburban areas, I don't know yet, and that's what we'll have to wait and see.
And I said, I'd like to know where you got it and maybe who else you possibly infected. And he was like, it doesn't matter, I don't know where I got it from, and he was just real quiet about it.
In another New York suburb, Heather Doyle struggles with full-fledged AIDS, caught from the man she married and buried.
And some days I get real upset and depressed and mad. I feel like it's stripped me of a lot of things, you know, having a family, children. I feel it's not fair. You know, what did I do?
New York City accommodates a range of sexual interests. Illicit drugs are at hand. Anonymity is practically assured. Such convenience in the center of the AIDS epidemic among gays and IV drug abusers bolstered early forecasts that AIDS would quickly spread beyond the inner city. In New York, it hasn't happened. In recent years, Staten Island's share of New York City's AIDS cases has held steady. But encouraging statistics don't help people like Heather Doyle. And public health experts worry that some people may use any good news about AIDS as an excuse to be reckless.
And we're telling people that overall, the average heterosexual in this country is not at very high risk for HIV infection. On the other hand, it's such a terrible disease, and it's so completely avoidable, why take a chance?
To some people, Dr. Jaffe's question is especially haunting. 2 New York women whose husbands died of AIDS have formed support groups for widows and wives of infected men. None of these women has HIV herself, but all live with the disease or its bitter memories.
He manages to make himself lunch, but he's in bed most of the time.
They talk about the practical problems of caring for the seriously ill. about how much to tell small children about a disease that carries such a stigma.
What other children?
The fear is still there. You know, when we went to Disney World, and a little girl said, "Where's your daddy?" And he said, "My daddy's dead." And my stomach cramped up. It's like, don't say it. Don't say it. There's no HIV in Disney World. Don't say it, Luke.
Whether it was from sexual transmission, blood transfusion, substance abuse, in the long run, when you're living with it, it doesn't matter. What you're living with is your family, a husband who may not have been perfect, but who was certainly good enough to marry or good enough to live with.
They meet to escape the judgment of a society they say is too harsh on people with AIDS, and they meet to remind themselves they're not alone. You can contact the Mayor Avedon Women's Support Group in New York City at 212-989-6649. In other news, the fate of silicone breast implants remains uncertain. Coming up, social and medical concerns compete.
When we asked what's a strong name in headache relief, a lot of people said
Excedrin.
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 When we asked what's a strong medicine for pain, a lot of people said ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen. Well, we put our heads together and came up with this solution for headache pain.
Excedrin.
Ibuprofen. Excedrin.
Ibuprofen.
Introducing Excedrin IB. Now an ibuprofen medicine from Excedrin. Ibuprofen relief for tough headaches. New Excedrin IB. The headache ibuprofen.
Yeah, that's me. And it still seems like a dream. But you don't have to be an Olympic marathoner to enjoy the benefits of running. Hi, I'm Frank Shorter from Runner's World magazine. Did you know that in as little as 20 minutes, 3 times a week, you can trim down, shape up, and have more energy than you ever thought possible? This free book shows you how. It's filled with super training tips for stronger and smoother running. And it's yours free, just for trying Runner's World. Every month, Runner's World tells you all about high-energy meals, training secrets, staying healthy, and even buying the perfect running shoes.
Call now for your no-risk trial subscription to Runner's World. You'll get 12 big issues for almost half off the cover price. Just 3 payments of $5.99. There's no obligation. If you're not completely satisfied, get back every penny you paid. And with your paid subscription, you'll receive the exclusive Runner's World training log. Call now, 1-800-421-8500.
I've talked to a lot of people that say, even in their 80s and 90s, I still feel like a 16-year-old girl inside.
There is a new attitude in America about aging.
Some have called it a revolution in this country that's going to happen as a result of an aging population.
They're trying to affect change and not just accept what happens to them.
Now, a news program brings you new ideas about getting older.
What is middle age?
Something I have yet to experience.
Right.
Early Prime with Lou Waters and Cheryl Atkinson, weekdays at 4 on CNN.
The winter flu epidemic continues through most of the country. The Centers for Disease Control reports 8% of the deaths in the U.S. a month ago were from complications of influenza. Flu is most dangerous to the elderly and others with chronic diseases. Researchers at the University of Pittsburgh are working on an experimental nasal spray vaccine, which they say confers instant short-term protection. It takes standard vaccines about 3 weeks to work.
If you had, for instance, a situation in a nursing home where the vaccine hadn't been used and influenza appears, you could instill this into the nose of the people in the nursing home, the staff, and so forth.
The nasal spray has proven itself in animals. The first human trials are being planned now. Emotion fuels the scientific controversy over silicone gel breast implants. The devices are not essential for life or physical well-being, but proponents say for some women, larger breasts may be important to mental health. Jeff Levine reports on some of the considerations behind the operations.
Beauty struts its stuff down the runway of fashion, and in the eye of the beholder, the message is clear. Large breasts are a big part of the feminine mystique. So many models and beauty pageant contestants have their breasts augmented.
I've known of pageant directors firsthand that have instructed their beauty pageant contestants to have breast implants in order to be able to compete beauty-wise against other contestants.
Andrea Zidane says her high-fashion modeling doesn't require large breasts, but others feel they have to have them.
I think that there are certain individuals who are fanatics about it. There are always those individuals who are fanatics that have to have the implants, that have to have the nose job.
Between 1 and 2 million women have had breast implants, most of them for cosmetic reasons. Now there's a moratorium on using the silicone gel-filled implants because of growing safety concerns. And critics say plastic surgeons pushed women into getting the devices when it really wasn't necessary.
By making a language current in which small breasts are called a deformity, you know, cosmetic surgeons were saying that women who had given milk to their children, women who had nursed, they called those breasts atrophied.
But Sue Richardson doesn't look at her implants as simply cosmetic. She got implants after cancer surgery and even had to have them replaced when they ruptured.
I think that when you start taking away choices, that you are violating the rights of women that have been, those rights have been earned over a period of decades by women that wanted quality of life.
In fact, many women are trying to balance the scientific and emotional arguments that are swirling around the implant controversy.
Any ounce of doubt in the nation's mind about if they're good for you or not, they should be taken off.
If they want to do it, though, I think that that's their prerogative.
Still, society can send a strong message to the vulnerable.
Now, 14-year-old girls are comparing themselves and their own bodies to that real explicit, clear, graphic image of an anorexic body with breast implants that you see in Vogue models and that you see in Playboy Penthouse.
For many women, breast implants are a chance to enhance their femininity and restore their self-esteem. But others may be taking at least some risk in search of an unattainable standard of beauty.
In the coming week, the future of the implants is likely to be decided as the Food and Drug Administration holds 3 days of hearings with supporters and opponents of the devices. We'll follow that story as it develops, and we'll present a half-hour wrap-up on Thursday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time on CNN. Implants, new image, new worries. We hope you'll join us for that report.
Hello, everybody. Among our top news stories of the day, firefighters in Los Angeles are working on a big fire in a downtown high-rise office building in Los Angeles. CNN's Patty Paniccia is on the scene. She has some details for us now. Patty, can you tell us what's going on?
Yes, Molly. This is a 10-story building. It's the Los Angeles County Health Department in the heart of downtown Los Angeles. I'm standing in the parking lot just below the building. The 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th floors have been aflame for the last hour and a half. The black skies throughout Los Angeles. You can see this fire from miles around. They've escorted some people out of the building. Firefighters say there still may be one person up there. They're not sure. This person is unaccounted for. He may have left on his own accord, or he could still be in the building. I think it's unlikely because firefighters have told me they are actually on those floors now. The fire is out, and they are just throwing the glass windows down. They're coming crashing down all around the building. They appear to be up there and probably would have found this person, but so far haven't. It's a good thing it's Saturday because this is a very busy building normally, 10 floors of offices, but so far there have been no deaths or injuries reported.
Patty, I do understand, though, that traffic has been really disrupted in that area. All kinds of traffic jams resulting because they've had to close some off-ramps near that building.
Exactly. For miles around, different off-ramps have been closed. Many people here were prepared for a flooding in the storm. Instead, they found themselves confronting this on Saturday morning. I'm Patty Paniccia for CNN, reporting live from downtown Los Angeles.
All right. Thank you, Patty. Style is coming up in just a minute, and we'll take a look at some other of our top stories, including that major fire burning now still in downtown Los Angeles. Stay with us. We'll have an update.
Homeowners Plus checking is free when you own your home. There's no minimum balance, no monthly service charge. You get free personalized checks, free traveler's checks, and more. Stop by the Midland office nearest you and open your Homeowners Plus free checking account today. Puppy not included.
For Harlan Edwards, it was a day he'll never forget. Over at Leo's, I never went. He took his daily shot at getting rich, and for the first time, won. But what he remembers most is what he did once he heard that war had started.
You're going to hear the bombs now. They are hitting.
Harlan sat down in front of the television, fairly certain that the world was now changed forever. Not to mention our way of learning about it.
None of us will ever forget.
This is CNN.
Style is just ahead here at CNN Weekend. First, a quick check of the hour's top stories. As you saw, a fire has engulfed the floor of the 10-story county health building in downtown Los Angeles. These are pictures earlier. Flames and smoke poured from the 8th floor. Windows were popping out and falling onto the ground from the intense heat from this fire. Fire trucks from around the city raced to this scene. Officials do not believe there is anyone still left in that building. So far, there have been no reports of injuries. Firefighters are telling a local television station that the building is not equipped with fire sprinklers. Streets around the area are littered with broken glass and other debris, and of course, we'll keep you updated on the latest on this fire. Only 3 days left until the New Hampshire presidential primary, and the candidates are crisscrossing that state trying to gain the precious votes of the undecided. On the Republican side, President Bush is trying to beat back an attack from conservative Pat Buchanan in his America First campaign.
You've probably heard around this state, from the left, from other places as well, the call for economic isolation. Some would build a protective wall around this country, and that's wrong. That's head in the sand. It's not the America that you and I know. That is an America running scared, and our vision is an America up and running strong, the leader of the free world, and we're not going to do it by pulling back.
Campaigning in Manchester today, Buchanan told supporters he is ready to take back the country in November.
Come Tuesday, the Buchanan brigades are going to run head-on into the hollow army of King George and cut through it like butter. Yeah! And I can't tell you how appreciative I am of this. But this is not only about Pat Buchanan's campaign. We're going to take this out of New Hampshire and right into Georgia after we come through here. This is about the future of your country.
Buchanan supporters got into a shouting match this morning with workers from the campaign of Democrat Bob Kerrey. Their campaign offices are across the street from one another in Manchester. Meantime, Kerry says he is concerned about a recent small slip in the polls.
The other evening, I had the chance to sit down in Portsmouth late at night after we had finished the day and watch a little bit of the Olympics, and I fell asleep, and I woke up, and I heard him calling off numbers, 9.9, 9.8, 10.0, 9.9. I thought, God, somebody's going to win a gold medal. And then the announcer said, those are the weekly numbers for Senator Kerry in our polling. No, it's not so good.
Former Democratic frontrunner Bill Clinton is trying to bring back some of the support he has lost in recent weeks. He spoke with people at a restaurant in Manchester this morning. CNN and the League of Women Voters are sponsoring a debate among the top Democratic presidential contenders. You can watch that on CNN tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern. Our next news update, top of the hour. Now, Style with Elsa Clinch.
This is Style, and I'm Elsa Clinch, reporting on the design worlds of fashion, beauty, and decorating. We start with a collection from one of the best-known Italian houses. It's a sophisticated, sexy spring from the Milan house of Jenny. The color palette is a blend of rich pastels, vibrant bright, and black and white. And classic suits